You're listening to the Small Business Accelerator podcast, accelerating success, one founder at a time.
With your hosts, Roger Bryant and Sarah Wilson.
We support small business owners, the little guys. We're here to help you win in today's landscape.
Join us each week as we reveal powerful strategies for small business owners that save you time and money.
Because we believe every small business owner should have access to Fortune 500 style strategies without breaking the bank.
Subscribe now on Spotify and Apple Podcasts to accelerate your small business success.
You ever feel like your brain is just like an inbox? Like it's just totally overflowing.
Oh, yeah.
Emails, articles, just notifications, all that stuff.
Absolutely.
It's like we're drowning in information.
Yeah.
And be honest, how often does that actually stop you from making decisions?
All the time.
Right. You're not alone.
It's a real struggle.
So today we're diving deep into information overload. We're going to uncover the causes, talk about the consequences, which go way beyond stress, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
And the most important thing, we're going to figure out how to fight back and turn all this data into something we can actually use.
Love it.
And get this, even good information can overload you.
It's true.
And the way your workplace is structured, it could actually be making it worse.
Definitely.
So yeah, buckle up because we're about to uncover some pretty crazy stuff about living in the information age.
It's wild out there.
So what's fascinating to me is that it's not just about how MECH information there is, it's also about how complex it is, how it's presented to us. Even our own personalities play a role.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
All those things create like this perfect storm of overload.
It's like trying to drink from a fire hose.
Yeah.
Which, by the way, don't try that at home.
No, don't do that.
Our source, From Information Overload to Actionable Insights, talks about this. It explains how our attention spans, what we already know, even what we're trying to focus on, can affect how well we process everything coming at us.
It makes sense, right? It's like, imagine trying to, learn a new language while you're also trying to solve a really hard math problem at the same time.
Oh, my brain would explode.
Your brain would be overloaded, and you'd probably mess up both.
Yeah.
So it's basically information overload in a nutshell.
And the crazy thing is, a lot of workplaces accidentally make this worse. Like constant emails, back-to-back meetings, data systems that feel like they were built when dinosaurs roamed the earth.
Right. It's like they're trying to make it harder on purpose.
It's no wonder everyone feels overwhelmed.
It's like trying to find a needle in a haystack.
Yeah.
Except the haystack just keeps growing.
Yeah.
Like every time you think you found the needle, someone dumps another truckload of hay on top of it.
Oh, stop. That's too real.
It's the worst.
And it's not just annoying. It has real consequences.
Yeah.
Our source makes it really clear. Information overload isn't just about stress. It can actually hurt our brains.
Yeah.
It can affect our decision-making, our thinking skills in general.
Totally. From information overload to actionable insights, they really made this point, and there's a term for it, cognitive overload.
Okay.
It's when your brain's working memory is just maxed out.
Mm-hmm.
It's like your computer's RAM is overloaded, everything slows down, errors pop up. Eventually, the whole system just crashes.
And it's not just a personal problem either. Businesses feel this too. Right?
Oh, big time.
Yeah.
Think about it. Missed opportunities, wasted resources. Companies can't keep up with the market because it's always changing. That's all information overload, but on an organizational level.
So we've got to fight back. Our sources offer some hope, though. And it starts with recognizing our own limits. From information overload to actionable insights. They suggest asking yourself a few questions.
Okay.
What type of information just sends you into a tailspin? What time of day are you most focused?
Yeah.
By figuring out your patterns, we can actually start to take control.
It's like figuring out if you have a food allergy or something.
Okay.
Once you know what makes you react badly, you can just avoid it.
Right.
Recognizing what information overloads you is the first step to, getting your mental space back.
And once we know what sets us off, we can master the art of filtering.
Ooh, filtering.
This is where we take back control of our attention.
Okay.
Our sources: be ruthless, find the information you need, and ignore the rest.
Easier said than done.
I know. But Automations Made Easy gives a great tip.
Okay, I'm listening. What is it?
Automate those little annoying repetitive tasks. Even if it's just a few minutes here and there, it adds up.
It's like compound interest for your time.
Yeah.
Every little automation you use frees up mental energy to focus on the important stuff. Now, let's talk about something more exciting. Let's turn this data from a burden into something powerful.
Okay.
It's time to stop feeling overwhelmed and start using this information to our advantage.
Okay, so no more dumping all our data into a spreadsheet and just hoping for the best.
No, no more of that.
What's the first step?
Think of it like a chef prepping their ingredients. You can't make a masterpiece with a messy kitchen. Data preparation is key.
Okay.
Cleaning, organizing, and preparing your data, that's how you get meaningful insights.
So we're talking standardizing the formats, dealing with missing information, making sure the data's accurate. Sounds like a lot goes into it before you even start analyzing.
You got it. But luckily, there are tools that can help automate a lot of this stuff. So it doesn't have to be like a super tedious manual process. Once we've got the data prepped and ready to go, then the fun begins. We can dive into analyzing, exploring, uncovering all those hidden patterns and trends, relationships that can inform our decisions.
Okay, so this is where we start looking for gold in our data mountain.
Precisely. And from information overload to actionable insights really stresses how powerful data visualization is. You know that saying, a picture's worth 1,000 words. A visualization is worth like 1,000 data points.
So instead of staring at numbers all day, we can use charts and graphs to make it come alive.
Exactly. Visualizing the data helps you see stuff that's hidden in a spreadsheet. Trends, outliers, correlations, they just pop out at you. It's like turning a black and white photo into a full-color, high-def image. You suddenly see details you never even noticed before.
Okay, I'm starting to see how this can be a game changer, but wait, there's more, right? We can go even deeper with advanced analytics, can't we?
You're talking about the world of predictive modeling and artificial intelligence.
Hold on, AI. This is starting to sound a little sci-fi. Are we really at a point where we can use AI to predict the future? Tell me more.
It's not sci-fi anymore. AI and machine learning are becoming more and more accessible, and they are incredibly powerful tools for finding those hidden connections in your data and making predictions about what's going to happen next.
That's amazing. But with all that power, we got to be responsible, right?
Oh, 100%. We have to make sure we're using these tools ethically and responsibly. But that's a whole other deep dive. For now, let's focus on how to turn these amazing insights into actions and decisions.
So we've analyzed the data, found some incredible insights. Now what? We just email everyone a bunch of charts and graphs?
Not quite. From information overload to actionable insights, stresses clear communication. It's about tailoring your message to who you're talking to, highlighting the key takeaways, and presenting your findings so they're both compelling and easy to understand. We need to turn data into a story that people will connect with and feel inspired to act on.
So it's storytelling with data. That's the key to making those insights real. It sounds like managing information overload and turning data into action is an ongoing thing, though, right?
You hit the nail on the head. We got to constantly evaluate our strategies, adapt to new tech, and embrace this idea of lifelong learning if we want to stay ahead of the curve.
It's like staying in shape. You can't go to the gym once and expect to be fit forever. You got to make it a habit.
Speaking of evolution, our sources hint at some exciting trends on the horizon.
Oh, yeah.
Let's dive into those and see what the future holds for us data-driven explorers.
Let's do it. Before we go too far, though, let's talk about some of the trends that are shaping the future of how we deal with this data explosion.
Okay, hit me. What's coming? Well, first up, we have the continued evolution of predictive analytics. Our source, from information overload to actionable insights, suggests that this field is only going to become more and more important as businesses and people try to stay ahead of the curve.
Wait, so we're talking about actually predicting the future with data? That's kind of wild. Tell me more about how that works.
Imagine being able to, I don't know, predict customer behavior, foresee market changes,
Yeah.
even forecast risks before they happen.
Okay.
That's the power of predictive analytics.
So cool.
One way this is done is through something called regression analysis.
Regression analysis. That sounds a little intimidating.
It's not as complicated as it sounds. Imagine you're trying to understand the relationship between, let's say, how much a company spends on advertising, right? And how much revenue they generate. Regression analysis can help you see if there's a connection there and even create a model that predicts future revenue based on ad spending.
So instead of just looking at what happened in the past, we're going to be using data to make smarter guesses about the future. That sounds incredibly valuable,
It is.
but also kind of daunting. How accurate can these predictions really be?
That's a great question. And it depends on a few things. The quality of the data, how sophisticated the models are, and the expertise of the people who are interpreting the results.
Okay.
But as technology gets better and we collect more data, The potential for accurate predictions is only going to increase.
So data analysts are going to be in even higher demand than they already are.
Oh, yeah, for sure. Companies are going to need skilled people who can not only analyze the data, but also explain what it means to the decision makers.
That makes sense. Okay, so predictive analytics is a big one. What else is on the horizon?
Get ready for this one, the rise of AI. You might not realize it, but AI tools are already helping us deal with information overload.
Really? How so?
Think about it. Spam filters, smart assistants that prioritize your emails, even the algorithms that decide what you see on your newsfeed. These are all examples of AI working in the background to filter out all the irrelevant stuff and just show you what's most important.
Wow. I hadn't really thought of it like that. So AI can actually help us focus on what matters.
Exactly. And it can do even more. AI can analyze huge amounts of data that humans just couldn't process on their own.
Yeah.
It can find patterns, make connections, and come up with insights that we might never have discovered.
That's incredible. But it also makes you think about, the ethical side of things. We have to use this power responsibly.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
We have a responsibility to use it wisely.
It's like we're on the edge of this huge shift in how we work and live.
Yeah.
And we need to make sure we're steering things in the right direction. Our sources also mention some challenges we need to consider as we move into this data-driven future.
Challenges like what?
Well, first off, data security and privacy.
Yeah.
As we collect and analyze more data, we got to be really careful about protecting that info from people who shouldn't have it. We've all heard stories about data breaches and identity theft. It's scary to think what could happen if that information falls into the wrong hands.
Exactly. Companies need to invest in strong security measures, and people need to be aware of the risks and take steps to protect their own data. But even with the best security, there's another challenge: data accuracy and quality.
So like garbage in, garbage out.
Exactly. If we're giving bad data to our algorithms, we're going to get bad results, no matter how fancy the technology is.
Makes sense. So we have to be really careful about where we get our data and how we clean it and prepare it before we even start analyzing it.
Absolutely. And then there's the human element. We can't just blindly trust the algorithms. We can't lose our own critical thinking skills.
So even with all this AI, humans still matter.
100%. AI can be an amazing tool, but it's not a replacement for human judgment and expertise. We need to use it to make us better, not to replace us. It's a partnership.
I like that. Okay, so we've talked about the potential benefits and the challenges of these future trends. But what does all this mean for, the average person who's just trying to keep up with all this information?
I think the main takeaway is that this is a journey. It's not a destination. Information overload is something we're all going to have to keep dealing with, but by understanding the causes, using the right tools and strategies, and always being willing to learn, we can turn all this data into something powerful and useful. It's about giving ourselves the knowledge and skills to handle this crazy, constantly changing world of information.
I love that. It's a message of hope. We can do this.
Absolutely. From information overload to actionable insights also makes one final point, though. We have to be adaptable and constantly reevaluate how we're managing information. What worked yesterday might not work today.
Okay.
And what works for one person might not work for someone else.
So it's all about finding what works for you, kind of like a personalized approach to data management.
Exactly. And the good news is there are resources out there to help. Like this deep dive, we've given you a solid foundation to build on, and I'm excited to hear what our listeners do with this info.
True. And don't forget our amazing sources. From information overload to actionable insights offers a wealth of knowledge, and automation's made easy. Gives some really practical tips and tools to help you automate those tedious tasks, free up your time and your mental energy. Before we get into specific tools, though, let's take a moment to think about what really resonated with us today. We covered a lot in this deep dive: the causes of information overload, how it affects us personally, professionally, and even some pretty cool strategies for turning all this data into something we can use.
We even looked into the future a bit.
We did.
Explored things like predictive analytics and how AI is going to play a bigger role in helping us manage all this information.
It's been a wild ride. As we wrap up, I'm curious, what stood out to you the most?
That's a good question.
What's the one big aha moment you're taking away from this?
For me, it's remembering that we're not helpless. It's so easy to feel overwhelmed and there's nothing you can do when you're constantly bombarded with information.
Yeah.
But we actually have more control than we realize.
I do.
We can choose what we consume, how we process it, how we use it to make decisions.
I love that. It's a reminder that we have agency even when it feels like we're drowning in information. And I think that ties in perfectly with the challenge we gave our listeners earlier.
Yeah.
To think about one small change they can make today to start taking back control.
I'm curious, what are you going to do? What small change are you going to implement?
For me, I think I'm going to commit to setting aside dedicated time each day for just focused work. No email, no notifications, just me and whatever task is at hand. Creating that space feels really crucial after everything we talked about today.
Oh, I love that.
What about you?
You know what? I think I'm going to finally tackle my inbox. Like, actually go through it and unsubscribe from all those newsletters I signed up for ages ago and never read. Yeah. It's time to take back my inbox.
Excellent choice.
It's gotten out of control.
And to all our listeners, no matter how small your first step is, just take it. Start building those habits, those systems, those filters that will help you navigate this whole world of information with more confidence. Every little step gets you closer to reclaiming your attention and actually reaching your goals.
Yeah.
And remember, it's a journey.
It is.
There are going to be times when you feel totally overwhelmed, when it feels like you're drowning in info, but don't give up. Keep experimenting, keep learning, and keep coming back to the strategies we talked about today.
And who knows, maybe we'll revisit this topic in a future deep dive.
Yeah.
Share even more advanced tips and techniques. But until then,
stay curious, stay focused, and keep diving deep. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into information overload. We'll catch you next time.
thanks for tuning in to the Small Business Accelerator podcast.
We really hope today's strategies help you grow your business without breaking the bank.
Don't forget to check the show notes for links to resources we've handpicked for small business success.
If you found value in today's episode, it would make our day if you subscribed to the podcast and left us a review.
You can find us on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you get your podcasts.
And stay tuned for our next episode. Next time, we'll reveal yet another game-changing strategy that's revolutionizing how small businesses on a shoestring budget take on giant corporations and accelerate their success.
Until then, keep accelerating your success.
This is Sarah Wilson.
And Roger Bryant, signing off.